This time we'd like to invite Joanna Seddon, our MASB CEO and founder of Prescient, to please come up and give a presentation on the MASB vision.
So the first thing I have to say is that I am thrilled and honoured to have been asked to step into the shoes of Tony Pace, who many people here know and whom we all loved and missed dearly. He took MASB a long way, and I think it's now time to look at taking MASB to the next level. So this is what we're going to talk about. It's really, I think that the reason I was so thrilled to take on the MASB role is because of how important MASB should be, as Kunshuk mentioned, and how its current profile does not match that. So marketing accountability, demonstrating the value of what marketing does, is the way you get investment in it and get it treated properly. So the MASB should be up there with the ANA as one of the lead organizations to do with marketing. And MASB has historically been full of IP, wonderful IP. I've never seen an organization brimming with such wonderful stuff. And no marketing, which is kind of weird, but MASB has been not really very good at marketing. Too much, fabulous thinking, not enough marketing. So that is, I think, one of the things that we need to change. Another thing that is kind of linked with this and is a cause of that is the organization has wonderful project work streams. We have sponsorship, we have the financial value of brands, we have the marketing dictionary, and a whole number of others. And they have passionate, dedicated groups who are doing wonderful work. But it's been a little fragmented in terms of, I'm a brand person, no overall brand proposition. So if you talk to people in an elevator and said, what is MASB? You'd be likely to get some slightly different answers. Yeah. So the first step is to say, what is the MASB brand for the future? Where are we going to take it? What is its purpose, vision for the future? And what I'm going to show you on this, it's not about me, right? It is about the purpose and vision that actually has been there, and this is common, it's been there all along in MASB. Yeah? It's there, it's implicit. It's just nobody's got up and said it. The journey we've been on over the last few weeks is really uncovering what the essence and purpose of MASB is, so we can communicate it powerfully and take MASB to the position where it really needs to go. So many of the people in the room have weighed in on this. Many of the people on Zoom, actually most of the people on Zoom, there's a lot of people on Zoom, by the way, have weighed in on this. So this is a collective effort. I think we've come to some kind of agreement, so I think we should share it. Okay, thank you. So we have a very simple new articulation of brand purpose. Is MASB about marketing accountability? Yes, absolutely. That is what MASB is. Is that the purpose of MASB? No. MASB has actually a higher purpose. The higher purpose is to elevate CMO and with it marketing to the place it rightfully occupies in corporations. So marketing and brand are the drivers of the demand chain. They are the drivers of growth. And that is what marketing does. How does marketing get to that position, get elevated to where it should be in the minds of CEOs, CFOs, and boards? By demonstrating the financial and business impact of what marketing achieves. And that is about accountability. So MASB's purpose is about elevating the CMO to their rightful place in the boardroom. How are we going to try to do that by helping to make marketing accountable. So very simple. Accountability is the how, the what is elevating marketing. So we went through, I won't spend too long on this just so you get the idea. We went through a brand positioning. This is a framework I've used for some time, and really looks at three things. What is the tension or critical need the brand or organisation is addressing? Second one is, on our best day, forget about the rest of the time, when we're at our best, who are we and what do we bring that can address this tension? And then the third piece is, what is the result? What is the impact that we achieve by addressing this tension? So the tension that we are addressing as MASB is as follows. The CEO's number one priority is growth. Right now, growth should be the CMO and marketing's job. They're responsible for the demand chain, the source of revenue growth and innovation. But marketers are focused on making commercials. They're seen as a cost centre, not a profit centre. Their costs are very visible. Their impact on profits is not. CEOs know they have to grow, but they don't trust their CEOs. The statistics are horrendous. It's something like 90% of CEOs trust their CIOs and CFOs, and about 80% of them distrust their CMOs. I mean, that is something we have to change. And the current turbulence in titles and the marketing function is the direct impact of that. So that's the tension. Marketing should be up there. It's driving growth, and yet it's not respected, not trusted by others. On our best day, we are committed to introducing accountability into marketing and demonstrating its business impact, which is the prerequisite for marketers to regain respect and for CMOs to be recognised as the drivers of the demand chain. And if we can introduce accountability into marketing, powerfully demonstrate its business impact, we will help to transform marketing and put the CMO in the boardroom where they belong, enabling companies to accelerate profit, growth, and generate incremental revenues and financial value. And as I think Sanchez said, pricing, it's about margins. You've got a great brand, you're doing your marketing well. Why does Coca-Cola get a 10% premium over other sodas? It's brand marketing. So that's the thinking behind it. And this is not communications. This is the thinking behind who we are. It's like the strategy from which communications spring. I'm not going to go through the brand story idea. This is just, we'll share all this. This is just a longer explanation of the thinking and some of the facts behind what you saw. But we do have a short new brand proposition, which I will read. So marketing drives growth. It's the engine of the demand chain. It brings in the money. It's marketing that CEOs need most but respect least. Why? Because the CMO's crucial role in driving growth has not been well demonstrated. And MASB will change this. We will make marketing accountable by uniting the profession behind standards and principles which show how investment in marketing creates revenue and profit growth, and which CEOs, CFOs and boards will recognise as robust. With the transformation of marketing's role, companies will unleash new sources of growth, enabling societies to prosper and individuals thrive. And we call on all of you to join us. This is an organisation that every major corporation, every major agency, measurement agency, and every major academic institution and researcher should be part of. And that is, the goal you've set. So that's our manifesto. What are the pillars that support it? And all of this is there in MASB, and these lead down to the sort of programs that we're going to be focusing on in the future. And all of these, the things that MASB has, some to more or less degrees right now. So collaboration. MASB was actually, I didn't really understand this until after I'd accepted this position. But MASB was actually, the impetus behind MASB came from the major marketing associations including the ANA, the AMA, the 4As and some others, they came together and they said, you know what, measurement is important, and we all do bits of it that fit our place in, what we do when we're associating, and we don't do it very well. We don't really have the resources. So don't we need an association which is an organisation which is going to really focus on this and do it right? So the idea was to bring the industry together. And it's not just the different associations, it's something that MASB does very well. It's the different participants, it's marketers in companies, it's finance people in companies and compliance people in companies. It's not just marketing. It is academics and researchers. It is the agencies who measure, promote marketing. It's all of those. And MASB is a forum where everybody can come together. It's an objective forum. We don't have an axe to grind beyond this mission of demonstrating the impact of marketing in order to elevate its role. So we bring the industry together. We collaborate across marketing, finance and analytics to pool ideas and knowledge, adding the focused expert resources needed to join the dots and create unified practices and principles for marketing measurement. MASB does this, right? Just need to do more of it. Thought leadership. I mentioned this before. I mean, it's unbelievable. MASB is a treasure trove. It's like a brains trust of top academics, researchers, and marketing practitioners working in these great teams to solve accountability issues that are vital to the future of the industry. And MASB, you may not all know this, is leading the charge on advocacy of standards for marketing, not just in the US, but globally. So MASB leads the ANSI initiative with the ISO on the development of international standards for brand value, evaluation, and marketing measurement. And MASB should not just be a US organisation. It's not, actually. We do have, brand finance, we have some organisations who are members who are outside the US. We need more. We don't. But the remit is there for us to go global. We're here in New York, the global capital of marketing. Certification, one of the other pillars of what we do, and we do a very good job with this, is we offer expert audits of marketing metrics and methodologies to agencies and now also to corporations. There's an initiative just starting with Pernod Ricard, for example, providing independent certification of those who've reached top quality standards. So one of the aims we need to do is to elevate and promote the certification that MASB brings in order for it to be globally recognised as a standard of marketing excellence. And we provide advisory. We are not, MASB is objective, it is independent, it is not a consulting organisation. What it does do is offer expert audits of marketing metrics and methodologies to agencies and to companies, providing objective advice on how to apply best practices to marketing measurement, and recommend accredited groups to conduct on-the-ground consultant work. So we have accredited as representing best practices in marketing measurement. We can go in and we can look at our benchmark and say, it looks like you may have opportunities here, and then recommend on to people who can help it, but we don't do it. So advisory. And education. We do share our knowledge, offering content, videos, and curriculum on marketing accountability to the marketing profession today and the universities educating the marketers of tomorrow. We have our video series. A new video series is in production, and we're going to do a lot more. So education is really important, cooperating with our academic partners. So those are the kind of future pillars to support it. This sums it up. What are we going to do? We have a tagline. You always have to have a tagline. Elevate marketing. Now I'm doing something here which goes against all the rules of branding. Yeah. And I'm doing it because, as Frank said, this is a closed session. You're kind of like the inner team. Is that you should never show any group more than one logo. You show them the end logo and you say, well, this is it, and you explain why. I'm showing two now for a reason. I'll give you a little bit of background. If we are going to take MASB from a brand and marketing sense to the next level, we really have to communicate that. What is a logo? A logo is not a brand. A logo signals that something is happening, that there is movement, and that something is changing, there is dynamism. We've been through, one of the top designers in business who's donated his services at a fraction of cost, because he believes in MASB too. We've been through a full exercise, with a small team, and gone through many different rounds, and we have come to 2 finalists. I'll give you 2 seconds. This is also going to have, so I'll just give you 2 seconds to look. I'll just explain. I'll talk about the one on the right first. That is the one closest in, right? You can see that there's a check mark in there which says accountability done. A check mark makes you feel good, right? You've done well, right? So it's uplifting. It points upwards, so it gets at the elevator. It very definitely gets at the accountability. The only question about it is it too much on accountability? That's enough on elevation. And the other one, which we call the bird, the autumn names, it's a flying M, which gets marketing. You can also, Frank very cleverly read all the other letters of MASB in there. And it is elevating, but it has also got different pieces coming together. It is structured, right, which is what we do, metrics, accountability. So those are 2 finalists. And in the interest of time, how do we deal with people offline, on Zoom, being able to ask questions?
So they can enter answers into the question and answer mechanism. So it's the Q&A. I have it here and I can read it. So we don't have any right now.
Okay. So please do, because we want to involve the people remotely, and it is possible. We've been in meetings where it is. So we will let you respond to that. I'll just go to the end of this. What's our strategic objective? Growth. MASB is an organisation everyone should belong to. What we are going to do tomorrow morning, following the CMO panel discussion, which Karen is hosting, is come back to, what does this mean? Because this is all very nice, this is a brand, but a brand does not create action without actions that come off the brand. And that is what we want to talk about tomorrow. I'm just going to flash it up in the interest of time to get you thinking. That's the point. We're going to grow. Everybody should be members. We have many audiences. Some we're addressing, some we are not. We have value propositions, which again we'll go into tomorrow morning. What is the benefit? What is the ROI for MASB for companies? We've done a lot of thinking and talking to companies who are involved with MASB. For marketers within companies, for finance people. We don't have enough finance people in MASB. You're going to get a lot more. For insights. For compliance, an audience we have not involved. For agencies, and lots of input on this one. For associations, who are very important to MASB. And for academics. There are a few of them, they're actually pretty powerful. Yeah. Talked to Dave Stewart about this, and he said, well, it's pretty simple for academics. We know what we want. It's 4 things. Yeah. I'm just going to look at, flip through the key components of what we're thinking of for the 2023 strategy. Again, this is all just ideas. We want input, and we'll ask for your input tomorrow. We have 45 minutes for that tomorrow. We're launching the new brand. We are going to energize existing and prime members, and we are going to recruit new members. In particular, we want to create a new marketing alliance for association and collaboration. There is one, but it's not really doing, it needs re-energizing. We are going to implement key workstream strategies. There are some great initiatives underway. There are other potential ones we want to discuss. And we are going to do more stuff. We are going to hold more events. We're going to collaborate more with other organisations. We are going to do more in education. And we are going to extend our audit and standards activities. So that's all for tomorrow. But I just want to let you say the brand is about action. So I don't just leave you with, oh, this is nice brand stuff. It is driving action, and that's what it needs to do. Okay. So that is my food for thought for you.
So any thoughts on logos?
Tilt the one on the left, so it's upward leaning, not downward. We're talking growth and it comes down.
You like the bird?
Yeah, I like the one on the right.
The bird. Okay. Let's see if we have any here on the Q&A side.
Most people prefer circles, so it's surprising that your logo has no circles. Like it's like blue circles. If you look around, you'll see a lot of logos are blue circles.
Yeah, well, that's one reason we're not having a blue circle.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have
My
question.
thought.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just that the number of colors in it.
Oh, the colours.
Or is that
this is
meant to
is just an exploration.
Right.
So we're going to explore all sorts of some more colour variants. Yes.
Yeah, it
Same,
seemed like
same with the typeface. We like the having marketing accountability stronger than standards board because it's too long, and we want to get away from just saying MASB, 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 because frankly that was created to say we're like FASB, and CEOs FASB's fallen out of fashion with CEOs. They don't like it very much. Yeah, there's all sorts of debates on that, and so we want to be broader. Yep.
I like the one on the right better because it was the check against the two boxes, and it's kind of like demonstrating the value that marketing's bringing, and then one box could be the C-suite and the other box could be the market. And the accountability is just, connecting those two, and the check is around the metrics. That's the imagery that came to
I
mind.
love people seeing stories into them. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Something you can just.
Chad is asking if they can see him again.
Yeah.
I'm going to do more exploration. I just want you to see it's coming. Because we're going to go out powerfully. We need to look different and say things are changing. We're taking all the legacy of MASB, which is terrific, and we're taking it upwards. Yeah. So more people can benefit from it.
We do have Paul Ferris. He is asking, will the logo somehow encompass the letters?
You know what? You can read them into the bird logo. The logo we did explore playing with the acronym. Actually, Cristiano, who did the work, just recently redid the Marketing Hall of Fame one, and then he got the acronym to actually turn into a very nice graphic. But it's a terrible lot of letters from a design point of view, right? We tried, and we said this really doesn't get it. It's heavy, right? And it's too many letters, and it just doesn't work very well. So, the idea is that a logo should not be literal. It should communicate the idea, and the idea is elevating and accountability. And that's we just wanted to suggest that. That's all you can help the logo do.
Yeah, I'm no expert in logos at all.
But you're the audience who will see.
But the first thing that jumped in my mind on the one on the right is that I read the two pillars of the M as kind of a bar chart. And so if you're going growth like the check mark, I wondered if you could somehow bring the right bar up, maybe even with kind of a growth angle or something like that. I don't know. It just jumped into my mind.
Listen, all ideas, yeah, very welcome. We'll talk
So
to
Joanna, which
Cristiano.
one did you like best?
They are both, we had such good designs. They are both great designs, and either of them will work. So a logo, and this is the speech I always give, it is not about what you like, right? You have to take your emotion out of it. I'm always giving this to, especially finance people who are the most emotional about logos for some reason. You have to say which one fits best strategically with what we're trying to accomplish. And there are some different views on this. That's a absolutely beautiful logo. You originally said it is too much accountability. Bob Leadys, who I talked to yesterday about this, said, the CEO of the ANA, said that it goes up, right? On the other hand, the other one, it's flying upwards. And you can do wonderful things with animating that. So they're both great choices, right? So we'll continue to explore a little bit, right? But you know, given that I've done the unthinkable and opened up for feedback, I'll take feedback. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Joanna. That was fantastic.
Actually, one thought, if it's okay, because we're
Yeah, all
at
thoughts are
10:20.
welcome.
I thought, given the comment earlier about, right, marketing being, which I thought was about more price and promotions, right, in terms of the actions of the marketers and not as much the product and the place even at times, whether in the audience development you talked about with finance, you know, adding in finance, adding in compliance, and adding in product as an audience for
You are so right.
MASB would be a good
Yes.
thing to incorporate in that because the growth driver is as much the functionality of this and its look and feel as it is the price, promotions, all the other, both of them combined to drive. If I'm a CEO, I'm like, this has to work wonderfully. And then it's also, how do we make people aware? How do we drive a feeling and an emotion about it and all those? So
And how do we, it's R&D as well, you're right. How do we develop the products that are going to drive?
who's listening to the customer
Yes, the
and
customer,
connecting
yeah,
the customer with this? So just a thought on that as a
added
goal.
map.
We'd like to welcome up Joanna Seddon, MASB CEO.
And I come out of services, so I'm like brand, and so the title has to fit in my view.
And for this one, we will use the microphone because this tends to be longer discussion. So if you need the microphone, just raise your hand and we'll bring it to you.
So, this is where I need your input. So, what I would really like to do for the next 45 minutes is to share in a bit more detail some of the ideas, two things. First of all, the value propositions that we've developed for different audiences, and to get your thinking on that very quickly. But really to focus on what should MASB be focusing on going forward. And I flashed them up very quickly yesterday morning, but very, very fast, just to give you an idea that action was coming. What I would really like to do is to get input on concrete actions that MASB should be taken in its 2023 strategy and implementation of the strategy. So that's really what I want. I know there's some people who want to give feedback on logos and things. We will have time for that, but that's not it. I really need input as well as feedback. Okay? So let's just start off with the. Okay, so any thoughts on the logo and visual identity directions? No, I know there was a whole conversation about it yesterday, so people are hiding. Okay. Hang on, there's three. Just John in the Q&A. Okay, so we will. Yes, Susan.
I would definitely go for the first one.
Oh, you didn't see these, yes?
No, I'm seeing them for the first time. I think it has more ability to fly.
Yeah, it's like a bird. We're calling it a bird. Yeah. I think that the discussion yes. The discussion yesterday that happened on chat was about not using the word MASB, not using the acronym MASB in the logo. And as I said, we did try, but it really didn't lead to any satisfactory logos.
Hi Frank, thanks for the opportunity. I didn't have a question. I just wanted to say that I like the logo on the right on my screen, the one with the check mark. That seems to be more appealing to me, at least.
Yesterday when I sat here, I was leaning towards the right, but I thought a lot about this. And the check mark just assumes, it's one and done, it's over. It doesn't recognize that marketing is changing in terms of its role and its connectedness and where it needs to head going forward. And then Ian, our discussion this morning before the panel, you were very insightful in terms of saying it's not about the marketer being accountable, it's about the organization being accountable for marketing. And if you take that broader role, even in terms of some of the CEO advice, it would say you're not done. And then the third reason why I changed my mind on the check mark was I think MRC uses a number of check marks
It does.
in their ratings.
It does, but it's a really terrible logo, so I don't think you should get into that.
I didn't say it was a good check mark. I would just move away from it for those reasons.
Okay, great input. Anyone else got their hands up? Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay, great. So we'll move on. So do please send any thoughts you have, right? Because
Because we keep moving back and forth on it.
oh, that's why. Yeah. All right. So we know this. MASB is an organization everyone in brand and marketing should belong to. And actually people beyond brand and marketing. Is brand in the bigger sense because we had a go at defining what the audience is, and again, lots of input from other people, what the audiences should be for MASB for the future. And clearly the top priority is to expand the audiences we already have. So, company level, insights, marketers, agencies, academics, and associations. We also need to bring in more finance people. I think not just marketing finance, but finance in general. If that's what we're about, we should have lots of finance people and more finance discussion. The idea of compliance has come up, and we did value propositions for all the audiences. We didn't actually get to do one for the investment community, but that came up. I think Shuba's talk yesterday was really very compelling on the importance of that one and how there's movement and how we address it. Susan was also talking about the work she's done on the ETF side with the investment community and the need there. So those are the audiences. One question, something I missed. Yes, thank you.
Can I add a couple more?
Yes.
Sorry. I think accountants are very important. I know Jim might agree with that. And also another constituent, it's probably part of investment community, but the analyst community.
Yeah, I put them, they were understood as being part of that.
Yeah, I think you would put two separate bubbles, investors separately and the analysts separately, because they are sufficiently large audiences that we need to pay more careful attention.
I wonder whether there's another one. We talked about Gen Z, but is the student community another one that we could add, or maybe it fits under some of these, but the next generation of people coming into marketing, for them to understand the terminology, etc. So that could be another potential bubble.
That's an interesting one.
Can I ask? I don't want to be disruptive, so tell me back. Just within company marketers, though, there's I guess if you're building this out in stages, there's a huge swath of, are there some must-haves? So, for example, if there are heads of research, data, analytics, are they the must-have community, that should definitely be members of MASB, not to the exclusion of others, But I just wonder if you have to break out those company marketers a little bit and you'll get some, some must-have audiences.
Yeah, the company insights department is really the measurement people. We wrote insights because it's
Okay.
because it's shorter, but it's insights, analytics, all the rest of it. But that's a good correction we can take.
Just expand on what Nikhil mentioned, we have some insertion points for some of the assets such as the data dictionary. So how might we activate, with students through the AMA collegiate chapters? And ANA has one too as well. And then there's also the Journal of Marketing Research that we could engage, university professors on. So that could be a good conduit to just kind of get the familiarity with the brand in the classrooms.
These are great ideas. So we had a go, and we'll share all this. So and a lot of this has come from a lot of the people in the room and remotely as well. When we have longer value propositions developed to go out and bring more people into MASB, which is going to be clearly a major push for 2023, beginning actually immediately after the summit. We've had a lot of input on these. We've had more added. We didn't get around to doing investors, and now we've got more. So I will share, all of this for more input and also the detailed versions, because this is only as, our success is dependent upon people who understand the different communities we're trying to reach out to, saying, this is what I would like MASB to do for me. It's not, here's MASB, you should take it. It's what do you want MASB to do for you? What do you think MASB could do for you? So I will. I'll just. Yeah, I'll go quickly. So the ROI. This is company level. So because if you're a marketer or insights or measurement person in a company, you may need to explain the benefits of joining MASB to senior people, so you need to take it up a level, not just the benefits of the marketing, which is a point actually that Jim made very strongly. So for companies, what's the ROI? Accelerating business growth by leveraging marketing better, elevating the performance level of the marketing department, translating what marketing does into language that makes sense across the organization, which is clearly very important, putting the very best metrics in place to monitor and continuously improve marketing performance, supercharge the efforts of marketing, finance, and insights, because it's not just marketing, increase the transparency of marketing functions by explaining what it does and what it's achieved in ways that other people can relate to, and it's clear, and optimizing brand and marketing investment. So those were these kind of overall ones we came up with. I'm just going to go through this. There's a lot of these, and you've added more. For marketers, it's an organization it's important to belong to. I think one of the key things about MASB is it is different from other marketing-related organizations. Unlike any of them, and this is why it was founded, it is single-mindedly focused on marketing accountability and measurement. It's not an offshoot that you do, a bit of here and there. It is about creating standards. It's about being independent and objective. We will advise companies and agencies on how they can improve their measurement, but we are not doing the measurement. We are recommending our members to do people they can work with to do measurement. We are rigorous. I think one of the points that was made that was fascinating about, which is so true about MASB, and we saw it yesterday. I mean, this is a very different discussion from anything you will have at the ANA or the 4As or the ARF or any of the other organizations. MASB believes in rigor and thoroughness as it should, given what its proposition is. It's about, tackling the toughest issues that other marketers may not want to talk about or gloss over. We're about getting down to the real nitty-gritty of what it is. So for marketers, being a MASB member can bring major benefits to your company. For the individual marketers themselves, they can help set the MASB agenda, bring up the issues that they're concerned about, and will bring up others to vote against them too. We can have their issues investigated by objective experts, help marketers implement best practices in measurement, and frankly, one of the points that's been made is MASB is incredible value for the money. Because with a MASB audit or consultation, you get the quality of people and input that you would get from, this point was made by a whole number of marketers we talked to, that you would get from, Boston Consulting or Bain. And at a fraction of the price, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's a good one. And benefit from collective experience, because we are bringing together not just marketers with other marketers, but also with academics and measurement experts and agencies. It's a real sharing. This is a real point that the association's made as well. And you can get input from experts at MASB summits, as we've just seen. I mean, some really great content we had yesterday. Sticks every 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nope. Oh, no, it should work. For finance, and this is a major thing, we need more finance people involved in MASB. For finance, the ROI is very clear. Improving collaboration between marketing and finance teams. Actually, from finance's point of view, bridging the gap between marketing and finance by getting them together. Yeah, and MASB is a forum for that. Helping the marketers think more in financial terms, which obviously is something that benefits the finance function. And conversely, get the finance team out of the accounting realm and get them to think about, actually, we're not just about counting the beans, we're about growth. And the best CFOs are people who are thinking about future strategy and growth of the company and how to organize the financial part of the company to achieve the strategy and growth objectives, which they often forget. Apply best practices to quantify marketing impact, clearly something they all want. And evaluate the benefits, including more brand and marketing information in your financial reporting, a topic that came up yesterday. And also, to get together with other marketing finance people or other finance people who are interested in marketing. For insights and measurement, this is insights in a company, right? We've had a lot about MASB saying data is golden, what we can do with data, we need data. I mean, the insights people in companies, we are, a natural helper, an ally for them to explain their importance to the companies. So we can help demonstrate to marketing and finance the importance of science and insights. We can help finance and marketing to implement good science and research best practices, and really get the analytics and data people out from underneath and really recognize just how much they contribute. We can also be a place we've seen for sharing thought leadership so that they can get new ideas and also deal with emerging issues proactively. We start to bring them up, the things that are coming out. And one of the points that was made when I was getting input on all of this was the fact that MASB doesn't just investigate the issues that marketers come up with. They bring up new ones to the marketers proactively, in their incipient stages. They're very much future-focused. Compliance, which we have not targeted as an audience, but which came up. And compliance and standards people historically focused on finance, operations, and quality standards. But you know what? We need quality standards for brand and marketing. We're developing them, and they should be thinking about that too. So we think there's a role for them. And really, compliance needs to understand why it's important important, the financial impact of protecting and sustaining the value of the brand asset, and get them involved in developing standards. It's their job after all. Agencies, and that means, measurement agencies, marketing agencies, all the third-party consultants and helpers. Well, what can MASB do? Help you get an edge in acquiring new business by having forums where agencies can showcase new thinking. We saw some of that, and experience. We saw some of that with Kantar and the Visa case yesterday. You can get your marketing metrics certified, as Brand Finance has done. And we need to do a lot more of that and publicize that. We can help promote, they can help get their products and services promoted simply by sharing their ideas and thought leadership. Then they can give back and help advance marketing measurement, which will help all of us because all agencies will benefit once companies realize that linking brand and marketing to facts and figures is important. Their services will be more in demand. They'll accelerate business development by providing the forums and the platforms. And public recognition for your achievements. I guess David was the latest. And sharing ideas and getting new ones, very important part of it. Associations. I have quite a bit of input from associations on this one. They see the major benefit as connecting with the other major marketing groups as a really place where they can get together and talk about things that benefit all of them and issues that concern all of them, rather than sort of semi-competing with their different pieces of marketing. They can help advance the cause of marketing accountability, which is in their interests. They can benefit from MASB's dedicated resources and depth of knowledge on measurement, which is one of the reasons why they got together to push the formation of MASB in the first place. They can use MASB's thought leadership. We have so many opportunities for that. And collaborate with them to advance measurement. Also, most of the marketing associations we know are US only. Well, we are actually international. We are very much driving standards and accountability globally through the ISO participation. Again, we have Brand Finance in here, which is actually a British company. Yep. So we are not just about the US. The ROI for academics, and I talked to Dave Stewart about this, and he said, well, there aren't as many as for some of these other audiences, but academics, it's very clear and very simple what the benefits are that we can get from MASB. So take advantage of exclusive data and intellectual property. Reach broader audiences, yes.
I think that first one's particularly important for academics. So particularly for junior academics, because I think looking at advancing the field of marketing, I think more senior academics have done their thing and they're like, yeah, we can advance the field. The junior academics, they would love exclusive data.
Right.
So and I don't know how we would do this, but if we could get that, that would be like raw data or, companies being willing to share data.
And also related to that, Neil makes a very good point, is also access to C-suite audience or C-suite experienced audience, which would be very important. I don't think whether junior or senior faculty have that unique access. So that would be an important thing that you should do.
That's a new one, because reaching a broader audience meant more of a public forum rather than academic journals. So that's a great one to add.
Yeah, but we do have a strong history on the academic side. The way it typically runs out is that the marketers will instruct their measurement providers to work with MASB and then the academics in publishing papers. So I'm thinking of things, for example, like our retrospective study, the BIV Foundation, which looked at 2.5 years worth of data, brought in from each of the marketers their sales data entity. So think of the Nielsen's and those type of entities. And then measurement providers, for example, like MSW Research, was brought in, and then that data was then made available to academics where they could look into it and understand all the data, but then in the release side, we blinded some of that for for various purposes for those marketers. And so we actually held that in a safe zone. So I think that's one of the nice things about working through MASB is that MASB can play that role of managing intellectual property so that it's appropriately released, which gives the marketers then confidence that they can participate. So just wanted to bring that forward and on those activities. So definitely academics, please reach out to us if you have a subject to explore. We're very happy to do so.
On that same note, can I have this is brilliant, you carved out for different audience. Minor suggestion is ROI suggests return on investment. So it must be, you need to, at least at the bottom, say what is expected in terms of investment. What should, let's say, companies are expected to do with MASB? What should academics be doing? What should individual members be doing? So that they can see, everybody says, oh, you've listed all the benefits and value, but what should I be doing to get those value, right? That's really return on investment. So what is it? Do I have to spend a ton of time? Do I have to spend some resources, money? All those things, if we could have some clarity there.
Great add, yes. And there is a lot more detail behind this. I'm just putting the top lines.
So I think just as Frank pointed out, so a concrete example. So the example you just gave about here's an example of how we did this with academics and data providers and so forth, that was very illuminating. And you can see our academic colleagues here probably thinking, I wonder if we could do something, And so for each of these, I think that's...
Each of these has many sub-bullet points, and we're just not showing them now for the interest.
I'm just saying a concrete example to bring it to life.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
No, and that's what we have. That's what I'm saying. It's what we have in the detail. Okay. So this is what I really want to get on to, and there are 3 pages of this. And this is where I really need input and ideas. Right. Key components of the 2023 strategy. And this is ideas for input, right? So launching a new brand, we need to be able to communicate powerfully, who we are. We've done a lot of work on this, and this is something we are planning to do, and communicate it, through every means we can, including social media, PR articles and interviews, to get members to talk about it, and association partners leveraging their ability to communicate with marketers better. And they're up for it. Yep. So that one. And the second part is what we've been talking about, is energizing existing and prior members and recruiting new ones. So what we would like to do, if people in the summit are up for participating, is to have membership hit squads for each priority audience. So people who understand the audiences, come from, like Karen, for example, in corporate marketing and measurement. So have people who really understand the audiences participate in small teams, getting prospect lists and going after the people that we need to bring in. So that's one idea. Another one is, which is definitely, I think we need to do, and the associations are up for it. We have a marketing committee, which is a bit confusing. The name is a bit confusing because it's actually not a marketing committee, as Eric pointed out very forcefully when I asked about it. It's actually a group of associations who are members, really talking about how they work with MASB. It's not really a marketing committee. So we need to re-energize it, rename it, bring other associations in, maybe call it the Marketing Alliance or something like that, which sounds more about what it is. It's a forum for the association members to get together. And we need to bring a lot more associations in or reinvigorate their membership. And they're all up for it. You just need to ask. The AMA is already done. They are partly because they've been through a few ups and downs, and they seem to be in a better place than they've been. So they all want to. Let's bring them in and create a real forum which brings benefits to them and benefits to us, which we think there's an awful lot. We also need to get more feedback on member needs. So the pitch to prospective members and lapsed members or just not very active members is it is what do you want from MASB? What can MASB do for you that would be helpful? Not you should join MASB because it's okay. And we're willing to tailor what we do to the needs of our members. That's why we exist. Now, here are some ideas. We have, and this is just very much a starting point, and what we'd like to do is to discuss each of these with the project teams and get your input. So this is just some of what I picked up, and I know more about some of the work streams and others. Clearly the financial value of brands. There's such a lot of work being done. We need to get the word out. We need to think about where this goes next. Are we looking at, doing more on the finance side, tackling more issues specifically on the financial valuation of brandings and marketing side? Or are we going to look at how we extend looking at the financial of brands to additional audiences? How do we measure it again, among employees, for example, which came up yesterday? How do we measure it on the stock market, which again came up yesterday? Sponsorship is on a roll. So, now we assume that the strategy is, continue with current plans, get the book out and publicize it. The marketing dictionary, and some of this is already happening, with I think it's the 4 A's, isn't it? Yep. Is let's expand to collaborations, and this is something that, the associations, can collaborate on more than they have been. Expand the collaborations, publicize it more, and I can't resist bringing this up. Common language marketing dictionary is a lot of words. Perhaps we should just call it the marketing dictionary. Yeah. That's an easy one. We could create a separate brand for it, but I'm not sure we need to. Marketing dictionary, owning that term is pretty good. Because common language, I certainly personally find a little confusing. And with standards, continued support to support the ISO. Even though, and David Haig is very vocal on this one, now that he's in charge, it needs help actually in communications. It needs help from MASB, and especially because of the large Chinese contingent, which presents all sorts of interesting challenges all of its own. And it says at the bottom, communicate. Yeah, the ISO for brands should be better known. So those are things that are already kind of happening, just some thoughts. And then I'll just go through this and then I'll sort of throw it open for input. And I don't know if Purush is on, but we had a very interesting discussion, which I think is, a potential work stream for the future, which is making big data useful. And I've encountered this with clients as well, is there is so much data out there. There is a sea of big data out there, and it should be very useful and useful for marketers and easy to deal with. And as we heard earlier, it's not. You've got people like Jerry who really focus on this, but most marketers just don't know what to do with it. They know what to do with research data. They know that they need to look beyond data, and there's all this stuff out there. But how to make it easy and intuitive to use, nobody knows. Purush has a team, and an institute which is focused on this. Is he on the?
Prush is on. Prush, if you'd like to speak, if you would raise your hand.
Yeah, hi Frank, and hi Joanna. Are you able to hear me?
You're here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I strongly believe that the vast amounts of data that are being generated every day would actually give us at MASB, I think, an enormous opportunity to make a mark in the field and stand out from other organizations by taking on the responsibility and challenge of helping marketers to take advantage of all the insights in the data, with the end goal of using those insights to actually make marketing accountable and demonstrate the value that marketing is giving. And I think not doing that would be a lost opportunity for us. That's the key point that I made to Joanna when we spoke.
Any comments, thoughts on that? Yeah.
I fully support Pat Purush's idea. One more addition that I want us to think about is, again, if you want to be leading, we need to be thinking about how to use unstructured data. And there's a lot of work, even Purush is also doing something on this, and I have been very much deeply into it. There is a lot to demonstrate the value of the brand, value of marketing, using unstructured data such as those come from social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and also reviews data. All of these data are now the new currencies for also the millennials and the Gen Zs. So if we were to be leading the role and shaping brand strategy and the value, demonstrate the value of marketing from that, analyzing that data and giving some tools for marketers and also some language to speak to the finance and the CX, the corporate suite and the board, that would be kind of a game-changing, if you will. Sorry to use the term. But it would be something very leading that nobody, I know that AMA is not engaged in doing that. All the related organizations have not been doing that. This is a very useful pursuit in my view.
And I think in my experience, it is something that, major companies struggle with. They're always signing up to these things, particularly on the unstructured side. And they don't really know what to do and how to make it useful.
Yeah, and I think there's so much data that's coming out. To add to the comments that we had so far, in addition to textual data that we all know about and have used in our personal decisions like reviews and so on, there's also enormous amounts of visual, video, audio, all kinds of data that's coming out that has tremendous insights if you're able to tap into that. And I think we are just beginning to kind of get into that. We have, collectively as a group, marketers and perhaps even the folks in on the IT side of things have begun to develop ways to bring those insights out, which are very valuable. And I think if we can take that charge on and offer to do that for marketers, I think we'll really stand out. As far as I know, no organization like ours has taken on that responsibility. So I think that will really set us apart from others.
There's a key component here, and Ian, you mentioned it earlier. At the end of the day, it's not about the data. It's about the business value that you derive from the insights from the data, right?
Exactly.
People have a hard time. They get so lost in the data. There's so much of it. I think there's definitely an advisory component that could be provided around what are the business's strategic objectives, right? And how are you using the business strategic objectives to set up a KPI framework? And that's the overall barometer for implementing testing, measuring models on whether or not you move the needle on those business objectives. So at the end of the day, it's about the business value from the insights, from the data. People have a hard time like getting that far. It's so much, you just get lost in the data. And then
Absolutely, very well said, absolutely. It's not about
Give you an
just
example, Howard, you love examples. One of the research, for example, look at CEO statements and CFO statements, and then basically analyze the unstructured data, and then point out how many marketing-related, customer-related, brand-related terms, and how they correlate with firm value, analyst interpretation. We are engaged in some research like this, and those kind of research will be very valuable to demonstrate the value of marketing. And for that, we need to have, a stream where we actually engage, collect the data, and engage the stakeholders, and then try to, disseminate the insights that we get from that. That, I think, would be a very nice way to demonstrate not just the ability of marketers to bring in insights from unstructured data, but also demonstrate the value of marketing at this, the C-suite level and the board level.
Also, the 10Q, all the quarterly earnings transcripts, 10Qs, annual reports are all available online.
Right, that's what we are doing some of our research.
Right, lots of business schools have initiated various projects.
But I think it is a tedious process.
It's very hard.
It's very tedious, so it remains to be. So if we could become a repository of some of these, that could be a great advancement.
Yeah. Mike, did you have a comment you wanted to add?
The comment is that in reaching, in reaching out to the CFOs and working with the ANA, I would reach out also to procurement people in companies, because they are now working closer with marketers, also with agencies, with the associations. And all that they're about is the value of what the spend of a company is. So procurement, and the ANA has great connections to procurement.
Yep, they do indeed. Yes, it is whole procurement conference.
I think we're running out of time.
We're running out on time, so I'm going to, and clearly we'll have to have many more discussions on this. But I just want to get as much as this idea came up from actually the ANA. And I think it's a very good idea. As they say, the issue, they have this kind of CMO group, which is focused on the financial aspects of brands, but they say what these guys want is to look at measuring creativity. And that falls squarely in our bailiwick. And because that's what, in one of my other hats, I'm chair of the Marketing Hall of Fame. And the last Marketing Hall of Fame, we had Mark Pritchard, we had Anne Mukherjee, and Antonio Lucio, and they were all saying is the magic is creativity. And that's what makes marketing different from any other disciplines. And they want to know how to measure it. So I think that's a very interesting one, particularly because...
Piggyback on that idea, and the idea of unstructured data, just having common coding for ads, content, because it's been something that's been the bane of every marketer's existence. It's not just what I spend, but it's like literally what is the content, the creative content within the ad. And there's been bits in progress of some players that were willing to start to play there depending on funding, but it's not moved very far ahead. And not unlike your comments in your 10K reports, it would be very easy to set an industry standard for that.
Actually, some research is underway where we are coding basically video ads and digital ads and so on, but it's still in infancy.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with some work a few years ago with folks that were ready to launch a database on that, given sufficient funding, but I think if it had broader adoption and could be tested by some of the potential members, it would have huge value across a variety of projects.
Yeah, David Stewart actually wrote one of the foundational pieces of that back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I know he's on the call right now as well. So maybe David, that's something we could talk about as well.
Okay, I'm getting in trouble with Frank's of time, so I'll much more to come on this, but this is where, this is about everybody helping and giving input. So the CMO series, which, has been going for some time, I think it's really, everybody's talking about the role of the CMO, so we need to make very clear that we define what is our unique territory, which is clearly going to be elevating the role of the CEO by demonstrating the financial results. But we have to think about crafting that and how we structure it going forward. I think that's very important. We need more events, more thought leadership on that one. And the other one, which is to say there was a work stream on data quality, which ran into some issues due for some of the personal reasons to do with some of the participants. And it is back on. And TruthSet are providing the data are really, really excited about it. So, which is very good. Then this is my last chart. This is just more things we want to do. Have 2 bigger MASB events in 2023. They could be, one could be on monetizing, I'm just making this up, and this is, all suggestions welcome here. It could be monetizing brand and marketing. It could be making data useful. And this have a different kind of event. These summits are unique and special because they're closed sessions and you have to be invited. But if we are going to build MASB up, we need to have bigger events where we share thinking, ideas with broader marketing audiences. And even, you can throw your 2 cents in this if you object, even get sponsors. Other organizations have events with sponsors without losing their objectivity. We can do the same. We really need to do that. So this is just ideas being thrown out there. Collaborations with other organizations, the AMA and measuring creativity, for example, and spend more time at their events, participating in their events, and they're all open to it. That's when we get the Marketing Alliance going. We will definitely bring that up. And, think about new educational programs and certifications, brand valuation, marketing measurement. And another one that came up actually in reference to the conversation this morning was maybe we should be certifying, what are the basic qualifications if you want to be a senior marketer? We heard a lot about that this morning, Lots of ideas on that one. Also, extending our audit program. This is happening. Our audit programs to companies. It's happening with Pernod Ricard, as well as agencies. And recommending approved agencies for measurement implementation and taking a more active role in helping them do that. And thinking about, there's the ISO. What standards should we be developing as MASB? And a lot of this is, the work has been done. It just needs, a bit of codifying, I think. So those are food for thought. We'll share all this and we'll be after you for input. And, you disagree with some of it, great. To John Gaskey's questions, the logo evolution has been through a whole number of iterations. I didn't share the dozens and dozens of logo directions that were explored. It is not generally advised to do consumer or customer research or audience research with logos. You end up with a mess and you'll get the dumbed down, not the most exciting one. So, it has to be done within this is what we're trying to do now. It has to be done within a smaller community. There are people who want to be more involved in it. Just put your hand up and we'll add you to it. Yep, it has to be a small team. Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.